Thanks for joining us on BizTech on GhanaWeb TV. I am Ernestina Sewa Asante. Today we delve deeper into the most talked about tax policy in the country, the Electronic Transfer Levy, otherwise known as the E-Levy. My colleague Stella Sogli-Jejom is on standby to help us with the breakdown of the E-Levy.
On November 17, 2021, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, during the presentation of the 2022 budget, announced that effective January 1, 2022, there will be a 1.75% levy on all electronic transactions, which is expected to rake in some 6.7 billion Ghana cedis. My name is Stella Sogli-Jejom, and I bring you the story so far as far as the E-Levy is concerned.
Total value of transactions for 2020 was estimated to be over 500 billion Ghana cedis compared to 78 billion cedis in 2016, just 5 years ago. While total money subscribers and active mobile money users have grown by an average rate of 18% and 16% respectively between 2016 and 2019. Mr. Speaker, it has become clear that there is this enormous potential to increase tax revenue by bringing into the tax bracket transactions that could be best defined as being undertaken in the informal economy. After considerable deliberation, government has decided to place a levy on all electronic transactions to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. This shall be known as the Electronic Transaction Levy or E-Levy. Mr. Speaker, electronic transactions covering mobile money payments. Mr. Speaker, honourable members, order. Electronic mobile money payments, bank transfers, merchant payments, and e-mode remittances will be charged at an applicable rate of 1.75%, which shall be borne by the sender, except e-mode remittances, which will be borne by the recipient. Mr. Speaker, to safeguard efforts being made to enhance financial inclusion and protect the vulnerable, all transactions that add up to 100 Ghana cedis or less per day, which is approximately 3,000 Ghana cedis per month, will be exempt from this levy. A portion of the proceeds from the E-Levy will be used to support entrepreneurship, youth employment, cybersecurity, digital and road infrastructure, among others. Mr. Speaker, taxi eyebako yinina betia. This tax is one, and we shall all pay. Mr. Speaker, this new policy also comes into effect once appropriation is passed on 1st January 2022. Government will work with all industry partners to ensure that their systems and payment platforms are configured to implement this policy.
After the announcement by the Finance Minister, the minority in Parliament kicked against the levy, explaining that imposition of a tax on mobile money and other electronic transactions will erode the country's gains in attaining digital financial inclusion. Now, the majority in defending the E-Levy said it was part of the government's agenda to internally mobilize funds to facilitate the piloting of its flagship U-Start program, improve the country's road infrastructure, as well as boost investor confidence.
It's one of shock and one of disappointment to realize that government is introducing an electronic levy. They are giving a tax relief to the rich and taxing heavily the most impoverished persons in Ghana. The poorest people in this country, the lowest on the economic ladder, are taking advantage of mobile money to be able to get financial inclusion. This budget single-handedly erodes 2 decades, 20 years of gains that we have done in building digital inclusion in our country. Mobile money has been in operation since 2009. The gains we have made in 2019, mobile money transactions were worth 370 billion Ghana cedis. By 2020, they were worth 517 billion. That tells you how it is growing. It is the fastest growing sector. The value of transactions in electronic transactions, e-money, is higher than what is going through the traditional banks. Now you place a 1.75% tax on it. So it means that if you are sending 1,000 Ghana cedis across networks or to someone on an MTN network, apart from paying the 10 cedi service charge, you are going to pay an additional 17 cedi 50 pesos. Why is, and this is a government that has the rhetoric that doesn't match their policy directions. They are talking digitalization. But Umia gave a flowery speech on digitalization, thinks he doesn't understand. And this shows you he doesn't understand it, because you cannot be talking digitalization and imposing a tax that is inhibitive of digital inclusion. And so you have a situation where right now all that you see is that we have moved forward for 2 decades, and they have introduced this levy that is going to take us back. And look, it affects even the telcos. I can tell you on authority, there has been no consultation with any of the telcos. The telcos are hearing about this tax here in this budget. It is a surprise to them, and they are supposed to work out their billing models by the 1st of January 2022. No such consultation had gone in. Who is going to bear it? How are we going to transport it? It's even going to affect the business models of these telcos. Take, for example, a network like Vodafone. What they have used to stay competitive in the mobile money business is that there are no transaction charges when you transfer from one Vodafone number to another Vodafone number. Now, when you do a transfer, Baumia and Nanado and Kenoforiata are saying that Vodafone must charge you when they say they won't charge. You are taking away tolls, which is a cost borne by rich people who have cars. You are taking away those tolls to give a relief to the rich, and you are taxing the poor person, my poor auntie in the village, who will have to receive money by Momo. Now her money is going to be reduced. This is the unconscionability, and this is the hypocrisy. This is a government that is receiving money from the Swiss government to take away taxes and cost on digital transactions. There's a program called the Remittance Grant Facility, funded by the Swiss government. So you ask yourself, wherein lies the policy credibility and consistency of this government? But it shows you how desperate they are. It shows you how desperate they are.
Now, the majority in defending the E-Levy said it was part of the government's agenda to internally mobilize funds to facilitate the piloting of its flagship U-Start program, improve the country's road infrastructure, as well as boost investor confidence.
I think there are a number of major things that this budget has dealt with. Youth entrepreneurship has been a big deal, and it's happy to hear about 1 billion Ghana cedis voted to support youth entrepreneurship. We've also seen a removal of road tolls across the country, which I understand is expected to start maybe even from tomorrow. And in return, something like the electronic transactions levy has been introduced, only 1.75 for transactions above 100 Ghana cedis. You've also seen, for example, policies that are aimed at ensuring that industry grows by removing the discount on the importation of products that can be manufactured or made right here in Ghana. If you put all of these together, it is quite clear that the administration has walked a fine line to ensure that we do not increase the hardship of the Ghanaian. For example, many people were expecting some taxes on petroleum products. In fact, you heard some of the road transport unions calling for a levy for roads put on petroleum products. It is good to know that there are no extra petroleum taxes or no fuel taxes that have been imposed in this particular budget. So I think that if you put it all together, this budget sets a good tone for this recovery exercise that we are about to embark upon. One billion Ghana cedis to support young entrepreneurs is a significant policy move that the administration has made. What we now need to do is to ensure that there's good implementation so that we can see the results.
Finally, you know, for entrepreneurs, funding is a very key issue. The finance minister mentioned the You Start. What's your projection of that initiative?
And that's what is supposed to bring in about 1 billion Ghana cedis to support youth entrepreneurs. Coupled with it some technical advice that will ensure that some of the mistakes that young entrepreneurs traditionally make are curbed. I believe that is something that young people should embrace and take advantage of.
Also, Ghanaians expressed their discontentment and approval for the levy, stating that the new levy is a burdensome tax. These concerns were followed by panic withdrawals as many found ways to avoid paying the tax.
You know, it was just yesterday, sitting behind my set, and I read under the set the E-Levy 1, 2, 3 to 6. Then I was asking myself so many questions. E-Levy 1, it will affect Momo. It will affect your bank account, bank transaction, other transaction concerning finances. You know something? We have money paying on COVID. We have money paying on sanitation, and so many tax ongoing. For me, if the government is bringing E-Levy and taking interest or money from the E-Levy from the citizens of this country, I want him to take from the civil servants and those working in the government institution, and those working with him, the government himself, and him, government and or presidential staffers, and then the judiciary, the executive and the legislature. They should pay. Because me, I don't see the money of the country. I hustle to have my money. I struggle to have my money. And at the end of the day, E-Levy 1 to 6, you expect me to pay. And it's automatic. I can't say I won't pay. Taking my money from my Momo, it has been taken out. Buying something from my sister, it has been taken out. She going to purchase things and bring it to her shop, it has been taken out. So we plead with the government. And we plead with the government, we plead with him. This E-Levy from Momo to what of you is uncalled for. To what end will they continue to oppress and suppress the citizens of the country? They should give us a break and help the people of the nation so we can build ourselves. Taking all this money from us, at the end of the day, we don't see anything. Nothing comes good in it. All that we see, they are driving their huge cars, we are passing, and we are still walking under the scorching sun. We don't see any good thing in it. We appreciate him, whatever he is doing for the nation. But with all due respect, Mr. President, I salute you, sir. With the E-Levy issue, you, the people, should take it from yourselves first and leave the struggling. You see, just a few minutes you came. I wish that lady is here. You would have also interviewed her, and I will explain in English. A young woman at the age of maybe early 30s or late 30s with the baby at the back, selling pure water. The slipper just got torn, and she came here that my sister should give her super glue, and my sister just collected and given her a new one without taking money. And I also have given her money for free and asked her how much would she earn a day. 3 cedis. This person selling, earning 3 cedis a day, and you are taking E-Levy from this person. It's not worth it. The government and the leaders of the nation should reason up. That's what I will say concerning the E-Levy. They should reason up. My name is Bishop Kwapo Bempo Ekufu. I'm a man of God.
I'm not okay because maybe I'm expecting 100 cedis. Maybe have my own budget, what to use the 100 cedis for, and then I receive 95 cedis. I'll feel bad. Maybe at that moment I don't have any money. I'm expecting 100 cedis to do this very important thing. 95 cedis come. I'll be really, worried, and I'll be sad. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I think it's not good. I'm telling you the fact. I'm telling you the truth. It's not good because Ghana in particular, we have money. We have a lot of resources that you can use that resources to do a lot of things, buildings and these things. So the E-Levy, it will disturb us. I don't like it. It shouldn't come. It shouldn't come. it's not good because we are business guys. We are business guys. And we need money from the government. We need money from the government, and they are rather need money from us. So it's bad. It's bad. We shouldn't approve it. And then one thing is the toll. The toll. I heard they said they have stopped doing what? Paying the toll. They use that toll to do that thing. I'm telling you, it's good. Because if government says he has banned the toll, then which means Ghana have money. We have a lot of money. Because if you go to Europe, if you go to America, they use the toll. So if you said you have banned toll, then which means you have money. So you have money. So you use that money to do that thing. You don't need any levy.
An economist with the University of Ghana Business School, Godfred Alufa-Bokpin, noted that the implementation of the levy is a lazy approach by government to generate revenue. He said, and I quote, "We have a long way to go. Government should just abolish it before they even start implementing it. You don't do this at this stage of the digitization. You don't. You see the reason why we have adopted it, and it's a lazy way of raising revenue. It requires less effort. Because if you look at the existing tax handles, the inefficiency and the low productivity in the existing tax handles is a true reflection of our attitude to hard work. It is a true reflection of our low compliance level that our laws are observed more in breach than in compliance." End of quote. After several brawls and battles to get Parliament to pass the E-Levy bill into law, the levy was on March 29 revised at a rate of 1.5% after the minority staged a walkout to register their disapproval. This, according to government, will reduce the expected revenue target from 6.7 billion to 4.5 billion Ghana cedis.
It's now to be seconded.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House. There being no further consideration, I propose to put the question on the whole motion. And the question is that those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
An act to impose a levy to be known as the Electronic Transfer Levy on electronic transfers to enhance revenue mobilization by broadening the tax base and to provide for related matters.
Honorable members, the Electronic Transfer Levy Bill 2021, duly read the third time and passed.
After the bill was passed in the presence of 136 MPs, President Akufo-Addo assented it into law.
Despite the protracted and sometimes acrimonious nature of proceedings, I'm happy that the House has finally found it possible to pass the E-Levy bill. I believe strongly the levy is going to make a significant contribution to revenue mobilization and the management of the national economy. And I want to thank members of the House for making this possible. Mr. Speaker, there are many problems that we have to overcome to get back to where we ought to be. I need your support. No president, no parliament, no government can undertake this task all by themselves. We need all Ghanaians to pull and push together. The road to recovery will be long and hard, but we have started on a good footing by accepting that we are in a difficult place and are taking the difficult decisions that will get us out. If anyone had ever had any doubts about the need for self-reliance, the point has now been forcibly drilled home to us. The pursuit of the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda is even more compelling now.
It doesn't just end there. The minority explained that the passage of the levy was unconstitutional since the number of MPs in the chamber at the time of the passage did not form a quorum. Led by the minority leader Haruna Idrisu, the NDC petitioned the Supreme Court to reverse the passage of the law. This move by the minority did not stop government's unwavering decision to implement the levy. The Ghana Revenue Authority announced that the implementation of the levy will begin on May 1, 2022. The minority once again sought to seek an injunction on the implementation of the law until the Apex Court hears the case. However, on May 1, 2022, the Ghana Revenue Authority began the implementation of the levy. This was characterized by several complaints of wrongful deductions despite the minimum threshold of 100 Ghana cedis set by the government. Meanwhile, on May 4, 2022, the Supreme Court in a 7-0 decision dismissed the application to injunct the implementation of the levy by the minority.
In the minority, until the substantive matter is determined conclusively, we remain determined that even on the balance of weighing monetary considerations against the weight of a constitutional breach, the emphasis should be on what harm we are doing to the 1992 Constitution and the three co-equal organs of state. So in the determination of whether some irreparable damage or hardship will be caused, our hardship as we understand it is the disrespect to the Constitution by the action of passage into law of an Act 1075 with numbers below the minimum constitutional threshold of 138 members of parliament.
Fully satisfied with the court ruling, content with the outcome. I'm happy that the observations that we made about the application have been affirmed by the court. It is very important to note that the court made the finding that really nothing regular had been demonstrated by the applicant, that insofar as Parliament or proceedings of Parliament on the day in question were concerned, everything seemed regular, and we have demonstrated the same from the processes that we had found. And I think that is very remarkable to indicate that yes, the applicant at all times bore the duty. He did not go to court with a bundle of speculations and conjecture. I mean, as the court stated in its ruling in reference to one of the claims by the applicant. Yes, we go to court on the basis of firm evidence. The record of Parliament on the day in question, 29th March, showed that at least 266 members of Parliament were present when the question was put for the approval of the E-Levy bill, and the motion was also agreed to. That's what the record shows. There was no indication that there was a division or a head count, and for that matter, only 136 people, as was alleged by the minority, were present in Parliament.
Despite all the complaints by Ghanaians over the usage of the electronic transaction levy after its implementation, the Ghana Revenue Authority has assured that it will address all anomalies and issues regarding all difficulties that have been faced so far. The Supreme Court has also ordered the GRA to keep records of all transactions that have been made, so that in the case that it is determined that the law was passed unlawfully, all these transactions can be refunded. My name is Stella Sogli Jejom for BizTech. Over to you, Ernestina.
Thank you very much, Stella Jejom Sogli, for that educative piece on the E-Levy. Up next is Biz Headlines. Government has disclosed that it is rehabilitating the Tema oil refinery which has not been fully operational in a number of years. According to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the move to rehabilitate the state-owned refinery forms part of efforts to stabilize the prices of petroleum products in the country. Speaking at this year's May Day celebrations in Accra, President Akufo-Addo said intense efforts are being made to rehabilitate the Tema Oil Refinery. Speaking at this year's May Day celebrations in Accra, President Akufo-Addo said intense efforts are being made to rehabilitate the Tema Oil Refinery to enable it contribute to stabilizing petroleum prices, which should see the light of day very soon. He further urged private sector firms operating in the country to make investments in the oil sector and support the establishment of new refineries across the country. Dean of Business School at the University of Cape Coast, Professor John Gachi, has noted that plans by the opposition National Democratic Congress to repeal the E-Levy sends a strong signal to investors. According to him, the repealing of the E-Levy shows that the law was enacted before or without following due principles. Professor Gachi added that this sends a message to both foreign and local investors that there may not be a future revenue stream for the country as most of the resources have been collateralized. The Dean of Business School at UCC made reference to the Roads Minister, Kwesi Amoakwate's comment during the brouhaha in Parliament that the E-Levy will be used to collateralize to construct more roads in the country. Speaking on News 360 on TV3 on Tuesday, Professor Gachi said it is also very clear that as opposition party, you are able to point out your views and your policy orientation when it comes to specific matters. So I believe the NDC through John Mahama has been able to clearly indicate the policy stand on the E-Levy. That sends so many signals. First, the signal is that it tells people that when things are enacted into law without following principle, we can, as a people, find a way through the lawmaking to deal with it. That through the lawmaking process, it can be repealed. Then it also sends the signal to investors interested in the bonds of Ghana, because during the debate about the E-Levy, the Roads Minister clearly indicated that they need the E-Levy to collateralize to construct more roads. So, if we are going to collateralize the E-Levy, then the signal to the investors that, then it sends a signal to the investors that the future revenue stream is going to be collateralized may not be there. The Ghana Revenue Authority has taken notice of the initial challenges experienced in the implementation of government's new tax handle, the Electronic Transfer Levy. The GRA has promised that all unlawful deductions made on the transactions effected so far will be regularized and reimbursements will be made to affected persons. In a statement cited by GhanaWeb, it said under this phased approach, it has also decided that all on-net and off-net transfers, including transfers to own accounts, shall be subject to the E-Levy. This is because of the lack of visibility across all networks due to the phased approach. However, charging entities are to exempt on-net transfers between accounts owned by the same person, where the identity of the person can be determined. President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obing, has expressed concerns over millions of Ghanaian youth who are still unemployed despite many job opportunities in the country. According to him, Ghana has vast job opportunities throughout the country. Hence, the issue of job unavailability is one that must rather be critically looked at. In an interaction with journalists to mark this year's May Day celebrations, the Guta president, however, bemoaned the spate of job opportunities being lost in the informal sector to foreign nationals, especially from Togo, Lebanon, and others. The electronic transfer levy, otherwise known as the E-Levy apprehensions, are starting to manifest, with banking halls and automated teller machines, ATMs, seeing increasing activities in terms of withdrawals of cash. A cursory survey by the BFT of some bank branches and ATMs in some parts of the capital, including East Legon, Airport, Osu and Medina, show that there has been an increment in terms of walk-ins to make withdrawals, with some ATMs even running out of cash over the weekend and holidays. Several branch managers of banks who have spoken to the BFT note that they have been witnessing increasing numbers of withdrawals since Friday, April 29th. That's all for today. Thank you very much for joining us on today's edition of BizTech on GhanaWeb TV. This show airs every Friday on the same platform. But before we go, do log on to www.ghanaweb.com for more stories. Do well to follow us on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at the GhanaWeb. On YouTube, GhanaWeb TV. I am Ernestina Sewa Asante. Do have a lovely weekend.